Hi friends, welcome back to another Pick a Card Tarot reading. My name is JP and this is Junodrome Tarot. I'm excited to be coming back with some more readings. My goal is to get these up and going in a more regular fashion, a little bit more regular than I've been doing them, because I would love to keep going with this channel. So I found that doing these readings can be incredibly helpful for me. And so I'm assuming it can be incredibly helpful for you as well. So I'm happy to be back. So anyway, this reading, to start us off with our new push, is all about what to expect from 2024. So take a look at these cards, see if any is calling you out. In a moment, I'll give you some more time to choose a pile before jumping into your reading. So we have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, and pile number 4. So choose the one that is really calling to you, and that one will be your reading. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading if you chose this card here with the crystal, right? It's the crystal here. And this is your reading for what to expect in 2024. So we're about to hit a new year, and I wanted to get some new year readings going for everyone. So let's take a look. We'll set this card aside, and we'll look at the meaning later, but crystals, earth, growth, the slow growth, right? And then long lasting. That's kind of what I'm getting, right? So like a crystal grows through minerals, but then once it exists, it's like a hard, solid piece of earth. So it's almost like this year I'm feeling for you, pile number 1. It's like it's a slow grow into something that's going to last for the rest of your life, kind of a deal. Like you're growing something that's going to last forever. And you know that kind of growth is slow, but also incredibly strong. So let's take a look at your oracle cards first. Yeah, okay. More oracle than tarot at this point because I only have one tarot deck at the moment, so I'm a little bit limited in that. So why don't we do some oracles first? Why don't we do the angel oracle first? This comes from Healing with the Angels oracle deck, something like that. Let's see. You have power. And then we have this sort of storm energy coming in here. Right, but it's the power of a storm, the power of a thunderstorm, but holding this creative sort of smolder. Something about this year, something about 2024 is really going to be connecting you to your own personal power, and it's that connection to your personal power that I think is gonna continue to add to this kind of growth that I was talking about before. So it's like there's this understanding that as you connect more into yourself, into your own internal sense of being and doing, that you're able to translate that into practical, real-world, physical growth in some aspects of your life, some areas of your life. And the thing about this too, this power, right? This kind of power, this internal power, it can be scary sometimes, right? This is the power of a thunderstorm here. Like, this is real intense inner strength. And sometimes that can be challenging to really connect to, because our internal, this could be parts of yourself within that you're afraid of. And so there's a little bit of a need through this process, or through this year, and maybe an opportunity to do this, to take a look at some sort of subconscious blocks that might exist, that are connecting you to powerful parts of yourself. And these parts may be parts that you're judging in some aspect, and so you're unable to really connect with them consciously, because there's some kind of real judgment within you that's existing, that's probably present from childhood, right? So a lot of times when we're children, especially anything that's connected to anger or, disruptions, we can be discouraged as kids to really embrace those emotional aspects, because, they can be unruly or harmful even, kids can hurt themselves, by acting out too much sometimes. So, for better or worse, those parts within us can be discouraged at a young age, so that when we get older, we can be kind of blocked from them sometimes. And so there's a sense here that there's some kind of division, I think, within you that that's blocking you from really connecting to the full extent of your personal power, because there's some aspect of it that's frightening to you. And, it's important to remember with things like anger in particular, and I don't know why, I feel like anger has something to do with where this block is coming from. We can feel emotion without acting on emotion. And I think that that's actually a really important thing to remember, is like you, to your private self in your own private space, expressing all of the extent of the emotions that you have, going deep, 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 you expressing those to yourself alone is not you acting out on someone else and lashing out on someone else, right? Our emotions and our actions are actually two separate things. And sometimes we can conflate our emotions and our actions together in a way that is, challenging and difficult. And so, especially as a child, it's harder to separate action and emotion. And so, some of where this block may be coming from, take it as it resonates. It might not be about anger, it could be about anything. But I do feel like it's emotion, because sometimes this raw power, it connects to this raw emotion too. Sometimes when we're children, we can't separate the emotion from acting out in a tantrum, right? And so the discouragement that comes from the family side of things can come in because we're not able to express those emotions in a positive way. And so then subconsciously we're saying, oh, this emotion is wrong, when it's the action from the emotion that was the problem the whole time, whether you want to call it a problem or not. And so I think that a part of this unraveling of the subconscious blockages in relation to emotional dynamics connected to your own personal power, if that's coming in, it's important to remind yourself that you can create a safe, alone space for yourself to feel those emotions deeply, where you aren't acting out on those emotions onto anyone else, and they're not going to hurt anybody. Your own personal feelings won't hurt anybody unless you use them to act in a way that will hurt someone, right? Action and emotion are two separate things. And so, feeling your feelings deeply is incredibly important, because once you feel those things, it actually kind of releases them and lets them out. And I think that there's a certain aspect of this release coming in here. Now, let's see what else your oracle cards are saying. We have 2 from the Shamanic Healing Oracle. We have past, present, future. And I do think that this is... I've already talked a little bit about childhood in this reading, and I do think that there's a connection here. Something about 2024 is opening you up to this sort of interconnected, interwoven sense of who you were in the past, who you are now, and who you are becoming in the future. There's a certain sense that this year is creating a connection between all of those things. And I think that as you connect to your own personal power more and you continue to grow these strong aspects of whatever it is you're growing for yourself, I think that there's this sort of mirror happening, this reciprocal mirror, and it's almost like, seeds that you planted in childhood in the past and in even just a few years ago, right? Things that have already been planted are going to be expressed in the present of 2024 that allow you to jumpstart into something much bigger beyond that, right? And that this year allows you an opportunity to open up as you connect to your own self more, open up into something much larger. Your other oracle is the forgiveness. Yeah, and that's interesting. I do think that there's some self-forgiveness involved in this. I do feel like that's a big part of your story for 2024 is allowing yourself to forgive major aspects of your past, in order to free your future, right? The present gives us the opportunity to reflect on where we've been and project ourselves to the future, right? In this moment, right, there's only ever one moment in time. We only have the ability to experience one moment at a time, and the past is gone forever. It no longer exists. And the future is just an idea. It also does not exist. All that we have is this present moment. And so the present moment is the gift to allow yourself to unlock your future, right? So in this present moment, you can reflect on the past and let go of the past in order to create whatever future you want for yourself. You really do have infinite possibility in the future. It's just that we have our brains, as this written record of everything that's happened to us, or not everything that's happened to us, but in most cases, just we tend to hold on to in our memories the negative aspects of our past far more than the positive ones. And so this record of negative instances of your past can be something that can hold you back on creating a future that you actually want. Instead, it's much easier to project into the future the same conditions that are in existence right now, because past experiences have allowed you to maintain and continue those things. And so with forgiveness here, something about 2024 is giving you an opportunity to forgive parts of your past. And most important, I really do feel like this is self-forgiveness. Now, it could be forgiving other people as well, and forgiving situations, like I did mention a little bit of the family stuff, where for better or worse, sometimes with family dynamics and in childhood, we can get discouraged in ways that, we might take subconsciously and make much larger than maybe they ever even were. And so there is this aspect of forgiveness of those types of things that could help you. But even larger, as we're connecting to the personal power in this year, I think there's a sense of needing to forgive yourself as well, for maybe feeling like you've betrayed yourself by clamping down too hard on certain aspects of self in the subconscious that maybe, want to be expressed within you and deserve to be expressed within you, that may feel scary because, they don't conform socially to certain things, but in reality may be deeply powerful and important aspects of self that need to be connected to, and may not be as scary as the subconscious mind is calling them, right? That in reality, if you allow yourself to explore and connect to those parts of yourself, they may actually be much less scary than you have anticipated, and actually might be a lot more fun, a lot more open than than what you might think. And so with the forgiveness here, there is a certain sense of forgiving yourself for all of it, right? Forgiving yourself for clamping down, forgiving yourself for feeling blocked, but also forgiving yourself for the long process of unraveling as well. And, with the growth of a crystal, I think that's a part of it as well, too. Like this work that you're doing, I think that 2024 for you is a profound year for inner work and a breakthrough year for inner work for you, pile number one. A real breakthrough in really connecting to certain aspects of yourself that may be forgotten in the past, that might be lost, really wonderful aspects of yourself. And so there's a sense of as you reconnect to those parts, forgiving yourself for disconnecting in the first place, because life is non-linear in a lot of ways, less than we think. We think A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D, but in reality, like, we go through phases and waves and periods in life. And so, some phases we're doing something, and then, just like tides in the ocean, it ebbs and flows. And so sometimes the tide is coming in and sometimes the tide is going out. And so forgiving yourself for going through phases of life where the tide has gone out is important, because you can't control everything that happens, and you can't guarantee where you're going to be next year sometimes, and you can't guarantee how life is going to treat you, and you can't guarantee where life is going to bring you. And so, really forgiveness sometimes is about really like letting yourself be okay with everything that's happened. And it doesn't mean that, even if you've been through terrible things, and you maybe there have been terrible people in your life, and you find yourself needing to forgive those people, that doesn't mean condoning what's happened, especially if really difficult, challenging things have happened to you. That isn't about pretending like, oh, that thing is amazing, it's like, no, terrible things are terrible. You don't have to sugarcoat that. You don't have to pretend like they weren't bad, but sitting with it and allowing it and saying that I'm still here, and forgiveness can be about that sometimes. It's a gift that you give yourself. It's a pledge to yourself that you're not going to hold on to those things anymore, right? That's what the forgiveness is. It's the release within you of that, of holding it. And you don't have to hold on to it anymore. That's what forgiveness is all about. And so there's this aspect here of 2024 that will bring in this larger level of forgiveness, of letting go of things from your past that you just don't need to hold on to anymore, and forgiving the things that are there. Because if you hold on to it, you're actually maintaining and continuing that pain and that hurt into the future. And there's nothing that's helping you by doing that. It's only holding you back, because it keeps you from entering into the infinite possibility that the future offers by holding on to those things, right? That if you hold on to the difficult chains of your past, you are guaranteeing your future will be the maintenance of that and the continuation of that. And so by giving yourself this gift of forgiveness, by connecting into your own personal power more, you're actually opening yourself up to the ability to have a free future, to have an open future, to have an infinite future that's more in your own ability to have what you want from it. If that makes sense. So let's now tune into your tarot cards. So I think the tarot will probably tell a story as well over what to expect from 2024. Interesting. There's some real contradictions here. So I think that there's a bit of a yin-yang balance happening in 2024 as well. So let's get into that. I think this is interesting. We've got how 2024 is going to start and how it's going to end. So what you're going into 2024 with is these two. And what you're leaving 2024 with is these two. So let's come into that. First up, how you're entering 2024 and what the beginning of the year, the first half, will allow you to unlock for yourself. It's a little bit of advice for you. The advice for you for 2024 is to start the year fresh. Like we were saying with past, present, future, this forgiveness is kind of opening you up to this idea of opening up to a new beginning. The pages can talk about new starts, new beginnings, the first parts of a journey. And for you, this is towards your passions, right? So I think connecting to your power, connecting to your personal power, it's really awakening this fiery sense of passion for yourself. So don't be afraid to try new things, to open yourself up to new possibilities. As you work on this inner work and this inner stuff, allow yourself to be inspired and to follow wherever that leads you. You know, what makes you curious? What makes you interested? Pretend to be, a child and a student and look at the world with wonder and curiosity and fascination. What's making you curious? What are you curious about? What's making you interested in learning new things? Keep that in mind as you enter the year. I think having that kind of mindset is going to be really helpful for you, and to meet some of this pain, especially if you're going to do a lot of inner work, to meet it with that curiosity instead of with fear, right? As you enter into any kind of challenges, any kind of difficulties you might be going into, meet those challenges and those difficulties with a sense of curiosity and openness and not a sense of fear, right? So if something challenging comes up, instead of being afraid of it, running with it and bearing it, be like, okay, where is this coming from? I'm here. I love you. I'm here for myself. What is this thing? What is it coming from? Why is it here? What is it I need to know about it, right? And then as you do that kind of thing, the other piece of advice for you is to go it alone a little bit at the beginning of the year. And as I get to the end of the year, I'll let you know. But this kind of inner work is calling for you to go on it by yourself a little bit. And that doesn't mean you have to totally isolate yourself. That doesn't mean you have to be totally alone, whether you're with somebody or you're not, partnership-wise, whether you live with people or you don't, roommate-wise, whatever. I'm not saying to be totally isolated, but there's a certain significant part here of doing this inner work, and it's going to require you to create and to carve out some personal space for yourself that's going to be really beneficial, right? And the Nine of Pentacles here, she's like basking in her own private garden, and because of that, she's enjoying her own sense of abundance, right? Of material stability and abundance. And so there's a sense here with this year, as the year begins, carve out some space and time for yourself to do, maybe that means having a bath every now and then. Maybe that means lighting candles and lighting some incense and putting on some of your favorite relaxing music and, spending some time alone in your room, in wherever, right? Maybe that means going on long walks by yourself in the woods, or it means, going to the ocean alone and watching the waves and throwing rocks into the water, whatever it means for you. Carving out that personal space, that personal time, is going to give you the space and the leeway to do this really important inner work that I think will really, really help you in 2024. And so as you do this personal work and this personal connection, I think that it can help release and open up within you this sort of sense of opening, right? And I think it's going to make you feel really good to spend some time alone at the beginning of the year. Now, that's how we're going to enter the year, the first half of the year. How you close out the year here is interesting. So these two cards, like I was saying, they reflect each other, and these two cards reflect each other. So as you enter the year with a beginner's mindset, open to possibility, open to connecting to your passions more, and you spend some time alone, you're going to leave with the King of Cups who is, he's the master of his emotions, right? So as you do this deep, deep, deep inner work, you're going to leave this year with a big, 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 powerful foundation for the rest of your life, like I was saying, of this deeply powerfully emotionally mature, emotionally connected person that you can then take and help other people. So it's like, as you connect to your own inner stuff, even if you're coming up against things that are really challenging and really difficult to look at, if you do that hard inner work, it leaves you in a position at the end of the year being so emotionally wise and connected and kind and empathetic and able to connect with anyone on any level, right? Because the thing about this inner stuff is, it's sort of like, once you go within far enough, you end up hitting the universal things. And even if your particular situation is your own unique situation, and we all have our own unique situation, we all have these inner situations too, these inner being, these inner understanding, that if you can connect deeply to that, it's universal and it connects with everyone. And so by you understanding yourself, you actually are able to understand everyone else as well in a way that's deep and universal and connects across multitudes, right? And so by allowing yourself to do this inner work, it gives you a sense of empathy towards others that is really powerful, right? This power, this inner power. And so, that leaving the year with that kind of energy allows you to really connect in with other people in a like-minded way and start building something with others as well. So it's like, by spending some time alone at the beginning of the year, it allows you to create these friendships and connections and work relationships and whatever, communities, social aspects that are far more powerful and nuanced and connected to this inner sense of being than maybe if you don't do that work, right? So if you don't do that work, your friendships might feel a little bit more shallow, it might be a little bit more disconnected, and might not be as important to you in the long run. Whereas if you do this deep inner work, you're going to connect with more like-minded people on a more universal level, on like a deeper sense of understanding. So I just saw outside 5-5 as well. 5 is the number of change. And so there's a sense here, 5-5, you can look up angel numbers if you want. You can look up angel number 55 if you want to. You don't have to, but to me, 5s tend to be change. So it's sort of like there really is this big dynamic shift in 2024 for you that comes from within. So by doing this inner work, you shift and move your inner self to the point where by the end of the year, your entire outer world begins to change as well. And so that's the other thing too that I think is important to remember is our inner and outer worlds really do reflect one another. What does that mean? That means that as you work inside on things, then your external world is able to change in a reflection of that inner work. And that's exactly reflected here, like I was saying, you'll be able to connect to people who are on this level more when you allow yourself to move to this level of understanding, of connection, of being. And I think that 2024 really gives you a great opportunity to be on that level, to connect in that way, to create for yourself a sense of understanding, of being that is far more connected to your larger self, your sense of understanding, the universal you, than you have experienced, I think, up until this point. So yeah, anyway, I think that that's kind of the movement of 2024 for you. Let's take a look now at the back of this card that you chose, the crystal, and it says, you are a rare find. You are a rare find. Yeah, so I think that this year, 2024, is actually going to be connecting you to understanding yourself on that rare find, that gem level, understanding the crystal gem that is you more than I think you ever have before. And if you allow yourself to do that deep inner work, I think it's going to be deeply profound and deeply powerful for you. So anyway, pile number 1, that's my reading for you. I hope that it resonates, and I hope that you have a wonderful 2024. Stay tuned for more readings like this from me. I'm trying to get back into it, so hopefully I can do that. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, and I will catch you later. Oh, also, check out some of my creative work. I've got music under Junodrome on all of the major music platforms, including Spotify. And there's the first part music video out on this channel as well. You can check that out. It's based around the Judgment card in the tarot. The first video that's out now is Aberration. The second video, Revelation, is coming very soon. Anyway, catch you later. Bye-bye. Hi there, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading for what to expect for the year 2024. Very exciting, very exciting. I'm really excited to be back doing some of these readings. I'd like to be doing them more regularly again. Hopefully I can deliver that for you all. But yeah, we're going to start out at least with a nice year in the future, kind of see where we're going to go. We've got a bunch of oracle cards and some tarot. We'll kind of get a picture on a little bit on maybe how the year is going to start, how the year is going to complete, that kind of thing. So why don't we start out with the first one is your hummingbird card, and there's a message on the back of this card that we'll do at the end. But first, let's talk about hummingbird symbolism. In general, I mean, there's a couple things, birds in general can represent connecting with the spirit guides, the spirit team, the universe, the deceased loved ones, however you want to conceive of it. We can talk about that aspect of it. Also, a hummingbird in general, it's the only bird that can hover in the air. It can take pauses in the air. It can move up and down and in ways that are different than most other birds, and so they have this sort of superpower going on, but they're also very delicate in certain aspects as well, and so there's a certain sense here of that your sensitive powers are important to keep those in mind as you move through the world, and that there's a connection between you and the divine, and honestly, maybe 2024 for you is a year where you have an opportunity to really connect yourself more to the divine. Maybe there will be opportunities coming to you that will allow you to deepen any kind of intuitive knowing and intuitive connection, and help you grow that aspect of yourself. I think that 2024 might have a lot of time and opportunity for you to really tune into your own body and your own being and your own inner light, and understanding your own sense of you much further, as you connect in with nature more, as you find the nectar, right? Hummingbirds subside based on nectar in flowers, and so it's like finding the nectar of your own inner wisdom will sustain you and guide you through this year. We've got 2 from the shamanic healing and 1 from the angel oracle. Let's do the angel one first. Healing with the Angels Oracle deck, I think is what this one's called. We have balance. Interesting. Okay, so there's a sense of, wow, and you see, look, the little shining light on the top of this angel here. They're holding this pearl representing balance. That's a beautiful pearl. Pearl symbolism is interesting to think about, in relation to this balance card. Pearls are, they begin as a sore in the muscle, right? It's when a grain of sand gets inside of the clam or the mussel or whatever makes pearls. And as it grows a callus around this grain of sand, and that's ultimately what becomes the pearl. And so it's sort of like, within ourselves, within our bodies, within our lives, sometimes it's those difficult, challenging situations that we get faced with that grow these massive, beautiful pearls. And so it's like, because the pearl is so big and because it's the balance card, I feel like this is a situation where 2024 is going to give you an opportunity to reflect on some of those challenges that have been present in your life, maybe in the past or in the present, and give you an opportunity to reckon with some challenging, difficult situations you may have gone through, and really ask yourself, like, where is the pearl of wisdom coming from these challenges? How have these challenges really helped me grow into something much stronger and more powerful and resilient than ever would have been the case before those challenges started, right? That those challenges have grown into this pearl. And so there's a sense with this balancing too of letting 2024 be an opportunity for you to balance out some of these inner conflicts that might be occurring within you, and allow you to really kind of move yourself forward, move yourself up and out of any kind of challenges. This is actually reminding me, as much as it's the justice can be a balancing card, but I think it's more of the judgment though in tarot is kind of what I'm starting to think, where it's like you reflect on all of the difficult, challenging things that have occurred, and you kind of get this catalyst of pushing you forward, this culmination of wisdom and understanding that's grown out of those situations, that allows you to kind of supercharge yourself into the next mode of being, that you've actually leveling up and leveling out into something else. So it's sort of like, I feel like there's a balancing out in 2024 as you develop this sort of inner wisdom, and you get the nectar of your own inner wisdom from that hummingbird, and you develop your own intuition further. I think there's a sense of really coming into harmony within your own self around challenges that you've been through, and maybe certain aspects of self that may have felt like might have felt challenging and off, could be you could get the opportunity to finally give yourself a sense of forgiveness from that. That's funny, this message is starting to feel a little bit like pile number 1, so if you had any inkling of going over there, you could check that one out too. There's some similar messages, it's different though. Yeah, okay. First up from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, we have the Struggle card. And this card asks you to reflect on what struggles are present in your life that are there because they're there, and what struggles in your life are there when they don't have to be. What struggles in your life are you allowing yourself to maintain? Is there a certain line of thinking that you're giving to your life right now that is continuing a struggle within you? And if so, how can you change your line of thinking? How can you open your perspective to realize that you do truly have infinite possibility to move into anything else, right? Sometimes this card can talk about how we use the struggles of our lives as identity sometimes. And so because of that, we actually end up maintaining a more difficult path for ourselves into our future, because the struggle is what we know. It's all that we have been. And because of that, we continue and maintain the same sorts of actions that continue this struggle, because it's what we know, it's familiar, it's our understanding. And another way of life doesn't seem possible just based on past experience. But ultimately, it's saying that, ultimately your fate is in your hands in a lot of ways, and that there are actions and steps you can take to unravel any situation you might be in that might be challenging. It just takes a minute to open your perspective to looking at things differently. How can you challenge yourself to look at your life in a new way, where you're no longer maintaining difficult ways of doing things simply because it's what you think you have to do, right? There's that old adage, smarter, not harder. I think that is a good mantra, if you want to use a mantra for you for 2024, pile number 2, is how can I live life smarter, not harder, right? Smarter, not harder. I think that that's ultimately the biggest message for you for 2024. That's your biggest advice. How can I approach life from an easier perspective? And it's not about cutting corners at all. It's not like you're not doing things the right way. It's just that you don't have to actively take on the hardest possible route for yourself simply because you have to, right? Because you tell yourself you have to, or you think that that's what's important, or you think that, the struggle could be a badge of honor. Sometimes we do wear our struggles as a badge of honor. And I think as you, excuse me, as you do this sort of catalyst within you, as you start to look back on the past and you start to look back on how your difficult situations you've been through have made this pearl of wisdom, that also gives you a sense of freedom to let you know that you don't have to do it the same way again too, right? And I think that's a big part of the judgment card too, which would be interesting if judgment is in here. But there's an interesting aspect of judgment, which is this sort of catalyst into a new mode, a new way of thinking, a new way of understanding, where it's like, instead of being stuck inside of the problem and the problem modes and the problem ways of working, you gain this inner sense of perspective that comes from the bigger picture, right? It's like zooming out and looking at the whole globe instead of being stuck staring at the ground, from the ground. It's this new perspective where you start to see that, that yes, this thing has given me a lot, and I have definitely gained so much wisdom from understanding this, but I also don't have to maintain the situation anymore. That once I get that pearl of wisdom, that gift from it, I don't have to maintain those situations anymore either, right? And even if that difficulty has given me this wisdom, that doesn't mean I owe it anything. I don't have to maintain it just simply because it gave me wisdom, right? The wisdom is the gift, and once you have that, you don't have to maintain the same systems anymore. You can change the systems that you're existing in. You can rewrite the rules to the game within your own life, because it's your life to do that. You have the opportunity to move and change and flow however you want. And I think that 2024 is going to really offer you the opportunity to do that work, to move in those kinds of directions, to change how you act, right? That today is a new day. 2024 is a new year, right? And you can do things smarter and not harder, right? You don't have to do things the hard way anymore, because you have the perspective enough to see what is and is not the hard way, right? You can feel your way into a situation. Just because you start doing something one way doesn't mean you have to dig in your heels and continue it in that direction if you see that there's a new way to do things. Maybe 2024 is going to give you an opportunity to start something, see that it's not right, and change course and do things a little bit differently. And that, maybe that becomes your new mode of operating through things. Okay, I see that this is going to continue the same kind of thing that I've been going down, and I don't want to do that anymore. So let me see if I can do it differently, see how that works. A little bit of experimental energy too, I think. It's actively maintaining this balance and harmony within yourself. Once you start to feel yourself go a little bit out of balance, that's a sign that you can take to move in a better direction. You don't have to charge forward in an unbalanced fashion until you break, right? Excuse me. Even if that's how you've done things in the past, that doesn't mean that's how you have to continue things. You have the power and the ability to change how you operate. And so I think that there's an opportunity in 2024 to really take that and operate things differently. How can you operate things in a way where you are no longer forcing yourself into doing something simply because you think you have to, or forcing yourself to do things a certain way because that's the way things are done? Just because that's the way things have been done doesn't mean they're the way things have to be done. You have the power in your own life to take things and do things differently. And it's the people who see that and do that and change things that that move us in new directions in life, and move the world in new directions. And you have every right and ability to move the world in new directions as anyone else does. So it's up to you to take things into your own hands and move it however you feel you need to. And I think 2024 is going to give you the opportunity to do that. Look, the gift is being given right into your hands here with this balance card. The pearl, and it's a huge pearl, is being held, and being offered to you. And so it's like you have the ability to take it and do whatever you need to do with it. It's up to you, right? You can follow the North Star. You don't have to keep swimming up the stream, Your next Shamanic Healing Oracle card is the Home card. So something else that's going to be present for you in 2024 is this sort of homecoming understanding, right? Which is also the Four of Cups, which is the homecoming card. Four of Cups? No, not Four of Cups. I'm sorry. That's the Four of Wands. It's the homecoming card. But there's this sense of exiting the maze. So you look at this like maze going on here where you're stuck and stuff and you don't know how to get there. And then eventually you end up getting home. It's sort of like you're escaping this maze of feeling lost within yourself, right? And coming back home to yourself within this balance. I do think it's, a lot of times the home is where the heart is. If you think about that expression, home is where the heart is. That expression is all about how, our home is within. Our home is where we make it. So, I think maybe for some people this could be physical, changing homes, changing locations. Possibly, yeah. I mean, that's possible. But I try to keep these messages more spiritual. But that, it could be a thing too. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. If you feel like moving, then maybe this is for you. If not, maybe not, right? I don't necessarily think that everybody's going to be moving who's seeing this pile, but I think that there's a sense of creating home within yourself and allowing yourself to feel like you are finally at home wherever you are, right? Because it's sort of like you come back into your own self here in a way that maybe you haven't felt like you've been in for a while. And I think that's because you are eliminating the struggle. You're letting go of the struggle, right? Instead of identifying with struggle, you're allowing yourself to work smarter, not harder. I think that gives you the opportunity to find an inner connection, more peace within. You have more time and more energy to devote to, relaxing, to resting. The more that you do that, I think the more that you have an opportunity to really open up a sense of inner peace and inner calm within that you can come home to. And I think maybe that's a big part of it too, that like a part of this releasing the struggle is creating a home too, that it's not so much that you have to refine something that's lost. It's like you have the opportunity to make it new too, where it's like taking the time to rest after work, after working in whatever aspect, putting in a lot of energy somewhere, taking the time to relax, to have a space within your home, wherever you are, even if you are more nomadic and you keep moving around, wherever you are, taking the time to carve out a space that's just yours for the moment, for the evening, for 20 minutes, where you can sit and you can relax and you can chill and you can have nothing going on, and you can come back into a sense of calm, coming back to home within yourself every day, I think creates a better sense of balance for yourself. And it's how you can jumpstart that connection into the intuition that I think is also deeply powerful for you for 2024. Okay, so now we're going to do the tarot cards. These come from the Smith Waite deck, which is a version of the Rider Waite deck. We have the Four of Wands. We have the Tower, all right. We have the Sun. And we have the Four of Cups. Okay, I think that this comes here. Yeah, here. Okay, So this is sort of a trajectory for the year for you, how you're entering, how you're leaving. That's what I did for pile number 1, and I think that it works the same for you. So how you're entering 2024, I think, like I said, as you connect with this struggle energy, with this balance energy, with this homecoming energy, I think those are your major themes for the year 2024. How you're entering into 2024 is you're entering into the year coming from this place where you're not seeing all of the gifts that are present for you at the moment. That the universe has a lot that it's giving you in the moment, but you can't see it. You're not focused on it. Instead, you're focused on all of the things that maybe aren't going right in your life. That's kind of where the struggle comes in. Like I was saying with the struggle is something that maybe that you're maintaining yourself in your own life, right? By focusing on the things that you don't want, you perpetuate the things that you don't want, right? By telling yourself that there is no possibility, you limit yourself to no possibility. How does that work? That doesn't have to be totally woo-woo, although it could be, depending on how you want to subscribe to believing in the world. It could be as simple as the idea that if you don't think that there's opportunity for you, not only are you not going to see the opportunities that are available for you, you're not even going to try to move towards the possibility of an opportunity, right? You're collapsing your future into no possibility because you do not think there is possibility for you. That's a big chunk of what this Four of Cups is saying that actually something that you're not even looking at is available to you. Now, that's kind of the energy that you're entering this year from. There's a bit of a deus ex machina, right? Which is like God in the machine in a story. The deus ex machina is when like something happens within the story that's outside of all of the characters' control, sort of like an act of God, right? That totally changes everything, and the entire plot of the story has to shift because of this thing. In real life, those are called tower moments, at least within the tarot community, because of this card, the Tower card, right? It's all about how it's this lightning struck tower, and you see these people falling. It can be scary. It doesn't have to be. I mean, it's not really that scary. It's just saying that there's aspects of your life that aren't working, and those aspects are something that you haven't changed consciously. And so it's stuff that has to end. It's stuff that cannot be maintained, even if you feel like you want to maintain it. So it's almost like this struggle, one way or another, it's going to stop. But if it stops, sometimes the Tower moment can stop things pretty drastically. It means like there's a big change going on in your life that's going to lead to, this stuff ending. So the more that you can be consciously aware of which patterns and which things in your life aren't great for you and shouldn't be maintained, the easier this transition is going to be for you. Because the Tower can be intense if you're totally digging in your heels trying to maintain a system that's out of balance, right? We have the Balance card. So something is going to happen in your life and your world that's going to trigger a change, whether you want it or not, it feels like. And so it's up to you to take that energy and do something with it in a positive direction, right? Building yourself a pathway to your own inner home, right? Allowing yourself to let go of the struggles where you can, right? If something difficult pops up in your life, look at it from a perspective of possibility and not a perspective of fear, right? If this is just a hypothetical. I'm not saying this is going to happen. So I'm not predicting anything here. I'm just giving you an example. As an example, excuse me, if you lose your job or if you need to leave your job, right? Like I said, this is just a hypothetical. I'm not saying this is going to happen to you or anybody who's watching this. Maybe it'll happen to nobody who's watching it, right? But I'm just saying, if that sort of thing happens, right, then how is that an opportunity for you to follow a path that's more aligned to you, as opposed to thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose everything, right? No, not at all, right? Maybe this is an opportunity for you to build into your life something that's more aligned with what you want, and allowing yourself to just take the easy route with this Balance card too, of what's the easy way for me to implement my own personal happiness, right? what are things that do make me happy? How can I let go of things that I feel I need, and really focus on the things that are good for me? How can I find something that's good for me, And that's sort of thing. Like I said, that was just a hypothetical. But, maybe it's different, and it's like I want to leave my job, because it's just terrible and I just can't even do it anymore. And then, oops, all of a sudden I press send on that resignation letter, and I wasn't even thinking too hard about it. I just had to do it. And oh my God, what am I going to do now? Right? That could be a tower moment too. Okay, well, now that I've done that, how can I find something that's better for me? Maybe there's a better opportunity for me. Maybe that now that I'm opening myself up to what I actually want and being honest with myself about what I don't want, I can actually allow in the things that are going to be good for me, that I really want for myself. And maybe those things are easier to access than I would have thought in the first place. Maybe it's much, much easier to access. Maybe it's not that hard at all. Maybe there's an opportunity right around the corner that is actually much closer aligned to the things that I want. Maybe if I just wrote out a list of all the things I want, allow myself to daydream and write down a big list of things that I really want in a daydream state, doing some kind of guided meditation or something ahead of time. YouTube has a ton of those. Do some sort of YouTube meditation where you really let your mind go and you let your mind wander. And then as soon as that's over, you just sit down and write a list of all the things you really want in life, without thinking, without judging, without any of that. Just have that list. Maybe that list can open up ideas, on how to live and how to do things in a new way. So I think that's how you're entering the year. But I think that whatever tower moment here is going to come in, I think, probably pretty early on in the year, it feels like, or at least, the first quarter, I would say, because this whole theme of your year, I think, comes from this. So it might even have already happened, who knows? You might be entering the year from a place of a tower moment, right? This could have been November. This could have been February. I didn't mean to say February. I meant to say October. But February might be important for you too. So who knows? Maybe February is when this kind of thing is going to come in. I don't know. Take it as it resonates. Like I said, it doesn't have to be anything scary. It's just something's not working in your life, and it's going to become very apparent that it's not working, and there's an opportunity to change things, right? So once you allow yourself to take this journey, working smarter, not harder, working into allowing a balance within yourself, further developing your intuition, as you move through that process, that's going to happen very, very swiftly. So it's as soon as this kind of stuff happens, you're going to get triggered into this fast-paced movement towards, all right, how is this going to work? How am I going to build in this stuff better? Clearly, I need a better mode of operation. How am I going to make that work? That's going to move very, very quickly for you, and open up a new pathway towards finding your way home. Really, I think 2024 is all about finding your way home, because you end the year on the sun. So it's as this whole process happens, even if it's bumpy and rocky at the beginning, which it might be, full disclosure, not that that's always a bad thing, right? Like I said, the struggle sometimes is stuff that we maintain and we have to let go. Maybe the bumpiness is finding the balance out of the struggle, allowing yourself to finally leave the struggle, that you don't need to be struggling, right? That the struggle is actually not something that needs to happen, that there's an easier way, there's an easier pathway, there's a pathway that isn't struggle. What is that pathway? Allowing yourself to do that, then you end up in the sun, right? So it's like allowing yourself to find your way home. It's a speedy process. I don't think it's going to be that hard to do, honestly. But even though it seems like it's a year-long process, I don't think it's going to be that challenging. I think it's just going to be about practice, right? Practice. As you allow yourself to lead that practice, right? Allow yourself to create a practice of peace within yourself. I think that you're opening up this sun energy, and you're leaving 2024 in the spotlight, in the sunshine, in a much, much warmer, calmer, open, loving, inner loving place than you entered. So I think that's really great. Ultimately this is a deeply positive reading here. But if things are tricky, just remind yourself, what is my perspective? The Four of Cups is such a huge card in this instance. What am I looking at? Am I looking at what's not going right? Or am I seeing the opportunity of what's going great, and smarter, not harder, work smarter, not harder. That's your mantra this year, right? Smarter, not harder. How can I eliminate what's difficult and just make things easy for myself? There's no shame in making things easy. There's no shame. There's probably a much easier way for you to approach where you are. And the universe is trying to give you that approach. So allow yourself to be open to it. It might be a bit of a bumpy shift, but if you're open to the shift, I think it's going to come in really swiftly and bring you right into the sunshine. And I think that 2024 will ultimately leave you feeling really wonderful by the end of it. Even if it's a bit bumpy at the very beginning, I think ultimately 2024 is going to be a very beautiful, wonderful year for you that you can look back on and say, wow, I really connected to myself that year. I really felt good about 2024. I feel that for you. So anyway, pile number 2, that's my reading for you. I hope that it resonates. Let me know in the comments what you think. I love hearing from everybody. Stay tuned for more music and art videos from me. If you want to check out some of my artistic content, I'm going to be doing both tarot and music and art on this channel from now on. I think I was debating trying to do 2 channels, but I think that it's just better for me to do everything together, and hopefully you like all of my stuff. But I think it's just the more that I build an audience, I want to be doing both. I don't want to end either one of them. So I'm going to just bring my arts content here because it's all kind of spiritual in my art stuff anyway, so it kind of fits in with this a little bit. So anyway, check out part 1 of my series on judgment. It's a musical video series. Part 1 is out now, called The Aberration, which is sort of like I was talking about judgment a little bit in this, right? How judgment starts out where you're really stuck in the muck of the mundane earthly way of doing things, and sometimes that can be falling into fear, which is what the main character of that series has done, and then you start to find a way out of it, and you kind of get like an opening, a window into seeing things fully from a new perspective, and then you take that shift and you move into something new. So the next part 2, the revelation, will be coming out in the next few weeks. There'll start to be more little shorts promoting it soon, so if you see those, then you know. And then eventually I will be releasing part 3 too, and then eventually I'll be doing like a big long video EP version of all 3 together, which is ultimately how I wrote the music and wanted it to be presented, but I felt like it would be kind of cool to break it up a little bit too. So anyway, pile number 2, that's it from me. Stay tuned for more tarot and artistic content from Junodrome. And thanks for tuning in. I love you guys. Catch you later. Bye. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading for what to expect for 2024. So this is your reading on what to expect for this upcoming year. What's going to come in for you for 2024? So we're starting out with this card here with the rain and the flowers, and I'm just getting that adage, April showers bring May flowers. So we got some tears coming in, but we have some beautiful flowers. So it's almost like this message of sort of you gotta have the dark days to have the beautiful days. And I think that maybe some of that energy is coming through for you for 2024. Not to say that 2024 is going to have dark days. I think it's going to actually have beautiful days. So there's this sort of mystical transformation in that, though. So there's some aspect about 2024 for you, pile number 3. It's going to be bringing in this sense of rejuvenation, like regeneration. I think regeneration is the big theme for you for 2024. Like like things from your past that have kept you stuck and solidified will finally be transformed and taken to a new level. What's so interesting to me is that these readings have all been relatively similar. I mean, they're all different, but there may be some messages in the other readings for you too, pile number 3, because there's a little bit of that. I think maybe for all of us for 2024, there's a big theme of regeneration, but for you in particular, I think that's one of your biggest themes for the year. Now, there's a message on the back that we'll read at the end, but we'll wait for that. We're going to start with the Oracle cards, and we'll start with this one. We're going to start with a card from the Healing with the Angels Oracle deck. And you've got the Freedom card here from the Healing with the Angels Oracle deck. Now, freedom, sorry for the candle over it. I have to censor it because it's a partially naked woman angel, and I think that YouTube doesn't like that. So, anyway, what's interesting about the freedom aspect of this is it's tuning into that rejuvenation as well. It's like you're freeing yourself from your past, and you're finally freeing yourself from any kind of like chains that have been holding you back from finally getting towards the things that you want in your life. And it's freedom from yourself in a certain sense. It's like you're freeing yourself from your own hang-ups, from your own inner chains that have been binding you. It's allowing yourself finally to embrace this sense of openness. And I think that 2024 is going to be a very freeing year for you, in the sense that I think that 2024 is going to give you an opportunity to to blossom, to bloom, to flower, right? You're going to be blooming. And so, maybe 2023 had opportunities that didn't pan out, or had moments that felt dark, or had aspects that didn't feel totally connected. And for whatever reason, I feel like 2024 is going to be giving you an opening towards more, for lack of a better word, freedom. All right, let's see these other two cards. We have a new day. Yeah, all right. And we have movement into balance. There really is. This is so interesting. It's such a clear message for you for 2024. It feels like 2024 is going to be a real stark contrast. And here we have more tears coming, right? Rain and tears are a big thing, but then it's like the balance of the calm evening, right? It's like the night after the storm is kind of what I'm feeling, right? A storm blows through, and it's scary, and it's dark, and it's all powerful, all raw, this raw emotion, but now you've got a breath of air afterward, and it's actually serene and beautiful, and you still have the wet evening after the rain. It's even more lovely because it's sort of like you've got the smell of post-rain, and you've got all that stuff, and I'm feeling that for you. It's like this is a new opportunity. 2024 is coming in with a new a new feeling, a new moment, a new understanding that's informed by where you've come from, that's built on a foundation of your past experiences. But it's such a new day, with that new day card and the freedom. It's like it's a new, you don't have to be held back by anything that's happened in the past, because this is something different. It's like you're being given a new moment, and that might be really emotional for you too. I think 2024, as it's giving you these new I don't know, it's like it's sitting on a bed of nuance here. It's almost like as you enter into this year with this feeling of open opportunity, there's something a little bit melancholy about it as well, because it's almost as if, okay, yeah, this is great that I have this new time and I can do whatever I want, but man, what I went through was, rough, and it's changed me. That's what I'm feeling, take it as it resonates, but I feel like there's this feeling of like, wow, I can't believe I went through that, and like, and it's like, I don't think you don't have to be controlled by the past anymore, and I think that. I think there's this sense of freedom is like, it's an obvious freedom. It's almost like 2024 as it comes in, that you're not controlled by the past either. It's like there's no questioning that this is something different for you, that you've entered into a new cycle, that you're in something completely different. Like there's no questioning that in this for you. And it's sort of like there's a bit of a shell shock feeling. I'm feeling shell shocked with this pile, which I feel like is like this idea that, it's almost bizarre to you that you're out of what you're out of. Like as intense as it came and it was a shock, and then poof, now you're in something beautiful and wonderful and calm and lovely, but there's still a sense of wow, going on in the back of your mind. And so allow this as an opportunity to move into balance. Just because like you don't have to forget what you've been through, and you don't have to forget where you came from. There's no pretending that what happened didn't happen. Like this sense of freedom and the new opportunities that are coming to you, they come from your past experiences. They come out of whatever you've been through in your life experience, and your challenges and your triumphs, and you don't want to pretend like your triumphs haven't happened, and at the same time you don't want to pretend like the difficulties didn't happen, and you don't have to. As we move through life, everything changes constantly. I mean, the only consistent thing in life is the inevitability of change. You can guarantee that whatever you're in right now, it will not last. There will be something different in the future. And so just as, that can be a really comforting thing sometimes, because that means, as you're finding out with 2024, that even if you go through a challenging cycle, that too will pass. And I think that it has passed. And I think that it passing, it almost became such an all-consuming part of your life that having it pass and move into something different is a very strange feeling for you. And so I think that 2024 may feel a bit surreal to you too, that you're in this new period, and that new life that's come in for you it's a beautiful thing, it's a wonderful thing, but it might be a bit of a strange thing as well. So let's take a look at the tarot. You got a lot of tarot cards. So the tarot I've been doing with these readings is being kind of like a through line of what the year is going to look like. So let's just put them all over, and I'll try to get a good... Oh yeah, you got the Judgment card. That's cool. I don't read reversals in general readings usually, because it just complicates things. Yeah. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, these are some really powerful cards, pile number 3. You got Judgment and Justice together. That is really intense. So I feel that this is past energy for you. I really do. Or it's present. It's either recent past or present energy. Let's see, this actually goes here. This is a theme. Justice. Justice is your theme. Justice is your theme. Yeah. I think justice is the theme as well. Justice is like one of these cards, so we'll deal with it when we get to more of these. Wow. All right. So in your recent past, I do think that you've been through some situations that have been kind of battles, either with other people or with yourself. And with the Five of Swords, it's like you win the battle, but you don't feel good about it, right? Like you got out of a situation, but it's left you feeling kind of haunted, which is definitely the feeling that I've been feeling with this reading. It's a very interesting feeling. It's like, yes, I've won this situation, but at what cost? Sometimes it feels that way. Not necessarily in a bad way. I mean, take it as it resonates for you, but it can be as simple as like, like, oh, I was fighting with all these people and like I felt like these people were terrible. And so then I walked away from that situation, but in doing so, now I feel kind of alone or something like that, or like, oh, I was, I was in a big legal battle, take it as it resonates, right? It doesn't have to be this, but I was in a big legal battle and I finally came out on top, but I had all of these legal bills and, maybe I won my case, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make the problem that happened any easier. If it was some kind of like, let's pretend, you were in litigation because, I don't know, something bad happened to you, right? Like, yeah, maybe you won the case, but like something bad still happened to you. You know what I mean? Like, so take that as it resonates. This isn't going to be future energy. I'm not predicting that happening to you. This feels like the energy you've come out of. Like 2023 was kind of a battle for you, or even earlier, but sometime in the recent past, there was this kind of thing happened. And that's left you into this sense of judgment. And I think you're entering into 2024 from the Judgment card, which is interesting because just an artistic plug. I've been recently doing I'm doing a 3-part music series on the channel that you can check out if you want. You don't have to, but it's all kind of this visual art music piece based around the Judgment card. And the first part is out now, which is called the Aberration, which is actually kind of really connected to this card in a lot of ways, because the person is in this scary, mystical battle with beings and entities and stuff and gets out of it, but it's sort of like at what cost, right? And then they enter into part 2, the Revelation, which is actually coming out soon, so you can check that out if you want to, if this is resonating with you and you want to listen to it. I'm going to be putting that out in the next few weeks. Plug over, but just letting you know. It's funny because it ties in with this card really well, because it's sort of like with the Judgment card, and then it's going to go to part 3, which is the Transformation, which is like this like very joyous period. So it's sort of like you get the 3, which is kind of what happens with Judgment. So with Judgment, it's sort of like this culmination. It's tough. It's like it's the transformation of a difficult situation into deep wisdom, right? So it's the transformation of being stuck on the ground level of a situation where you're stuck in it and, you're fighting, everything feels visceral, you don't really understand what's going on, right? You're the earthly. And then something happens within you where you get a transformation. You're outside of the situation ends, and you get given kind of a perspective change where you start to see everything from a larger perspective, from a different perspective, from the you could call it a divine perspective. You don't have to think of it that way. But it's like a new way of seeing it from the bigger picture in a way that you could never see on the ground when it was happening, right? So that angel comes to speak, right? And then from that new perspective, you're given a transformation where you go into a new way of experiencing life, having come out the other end from the situation intact in a new way. And that's the Judgment card. It's the classic Judgment Day kind of a thing from the Bible, where it's like the souls are brought to heaven or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a Christian. I don't know it that well. But that's kind of what this concept is. And so, so the idea here is that 2024, this situation that you're in, it's like you're entering into 2024, and this is probably something you've been going through very recently, and it's bleeding into the year, or it's something that's going to happen immediately. It's like you're going through that transformation process, and I think 2024 is kind of that for you, right? Like I felt that kind of hollowed shell shock kind of feeling where you're like, whoa, now what? And I think that's a part of this resting card too, because the Four of Swords is the rest card. So it's like, as you allow yourself to do this transformative inner work, I think that it's going to be kind of slow moving, and restful. I think the resting is a big part of this transformation. So give yourself time, and if this stuff happened not recently, if it happened a few years ago, it's still recent in the cosmic sense. I feel like, it's like it's still cosmically recent. And so you're still going through, and maybe this was 2023 for you too. I don't know. It depends on who you are and what your situation is. But like 2024 is like a big part of it is this peace, this rest, this sleep, The Four of Swords can talk about that. I mean, it talks about eternal sleep, it's a tomb technically, but usually it's interpreted as needing to get rest or taking rest. But on the cosmic level, in this particular situation, it's almost like you're in this pause as you work through this transformation. But it's important to remember that it is a brand new day. It's a new opportunity. I think the end of 2024 is going to be really, really clear to you that you have new opportunities here. With the Ace of Pentacles, it talks about a new beginning in the material world. New places, moving to new places, visiting new places, new health situation, feeling healthy again, feeling secure in your physical world. You can talk a lot about that, but it's a new beginning in that. It's a new opportunity in that, and a new opportunity in abundance. A new job would fit this as well, but it doesn't have to be that. It's definitely with this movement and balance too, and the justice being like one of the main messages in this. It's like you're moving out of that energy that you were in, that fight. You're not in that anymore. And even if you have left that feeling like, what do they call that? Not a fool's errand. That's the wrong word. I'm thinking about like a hollow victory. Maybe it's a hollow victory. Is that the term? Something like that. Where you're like, yeah, you won, but at what cost? Or yeah, you got out of it, but now what? You got a little bit of that feeling from however you left a situation in your recent past and the distant past even. And now you're finally being given the opportunity with the Judgment card to transform how that feels in your body, really. Getting it out, getting it out of being stuck in your mind. So give yourself the time to do this is kind of what you're being asked. Maybe take all of 2024 to do this transformational process, because you have a new opportunity being given to you. You have ultimate freedom here. You are free. There is nothing holding you back. With the Justice here, it's like the justice is the cosmic balance. As you move into balance in your own life, it's also, karmic balance. It's almost like you've paid off karmic debts. You take that as it resonates, but that kind of is what it feels like. It's like you allowed yourself to go through those deeper karmic situations that you've been put in, that you came into this lifetime to work through. It's like you went through a big period of churning through that, and you came out on the other end of it. And I think that's a big part of why this feels so intense too, is it's like, this is stuff I mean, take it as it resonates for you. You don't have to believe in reincarnation, and you don't have to think of things the way that I do. But I kind of feel that for me, the way this is feeling is like, this is one of those situations where, like, this is something you were working through over lifetimes, I feel like. And I feel like some situation has ended that has been going on for many, many, many lifetimes for you. And so to be done with it is a very strange and surreal feeling for you, because you've put an end to a modality of being that has been your identity for many, many, many eons. It feels like, take it as it resonates. It doesn't have to be that way, but it feels a little bit like that to me in this reading. And so, that's why I think if this has been going on for even more than a year, it's still recent in the cosmic sense. It's incredibly recent. And so take as much time as you need to process this stuff, because you are in a new day and you are moving back into balance here. So if you've gotten out of a situation that was intense like that, especially if this is like deep, deep cosmic intensity, you have moved yourself into a sense of balance, right? And I think it's interesting to talk a little bit about the Buddhist perspective, and you don't have to be a Buddhist to feel this, but there's something symbolic about it that really fits in this situation. So I'm going to talk about it. In Buddhism, the ideal Buddhist philosophy, they've got the wheel of karma, right? Where you go up and you're the god, and you go down and you're in the hell realms, and you go up and you're God, and that's samsara, right? The wheel of samsara. And the goal of samsara is not to be permanently in the up state, right? To be permanently in the God state, because that's not actually possible. And, you can be in the God state for eons, but eventually you start to slip and you fall and you go way back down again. And then you go back up, but then you go back down. And so the goal is the cosmic balance is what you're looking for. That's what the Buddhists strive for, right? They want to escape the wheel of samsara. They don't want to be stuck in this anymore. So, even when you're up, and then you're down and then you're up, it's like, that's not the goal here. The goal is to get into the middle path, the middle way. That's the goal of the Buddhist. I'm not a Buddhist, but I'm not really anything. I'm just kind of, am interested in all the philosophies. But I do think there's something really to be said about that on the cosmic scale. The idea is to find the balance. And from what the Buddhists say, that's actually one of the main advantages of being a human, is we are in the middle realm. So we actually have opportunity as human beings to escape this cycle because of our position, that we're actually incredibly fortunate and lucky to be able to find the middle way in life. And not all sentient beings in existence can do that. Hungry ghosts can't do it, and the gods can't do it either. They're too stuck in their own self-loving and self-absorbing, nature. And so, like I said, take that for the symbolism there. I think that something that you've done, pile number 3, has brought you closer to the middle. And I don't know, according to the Buddhists, it takes lifetimes and lifetimes to escape samsara. Although it doesn't have to, I guess, either. Like the Buddha did it in one, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a Buddhist, so I don't know fully the system and the philosophy. I don't know. I do know it's probably really hard to escape samsara in their opinions, and so I don't know. But I do think that there's something here to be said about you finding a sense of cosmic balance, and you've kind of leveled up a little bit too. But we don't have the world here, so I don't see this as you moving up into a new chapter. It feels like you've let something go, for sure. I think you've walked out of a situation that felt like home for a long time, and I think because of that, there's a little bit of an identity crisis here as well for you, pile number 3. for leaving whatever situation you were in. And I think that I think that can be a difficult thing to be in too, because whatever this was that you went through was kind of your main thing for a long, long time. And so now I think you're giving the opportunity to find something new in a new way, in a new being, and in a new way to live. And so take it, keep that balance, right? Because, you have the power to do whatever now, but take this perspective shift, with you. You've balanced things out, that were unbalanced. You've brought yourself into balance. And because of that, you have the freedom to move in any direction. So choose a direction that maintains that balance for yourself, right? And I think 2024 is going to give you the opportunity to do that and to work on that even more. Anyway, pile number 3, that ended up being a very intense reading. So I hope that it resonates for you, and I hope that you get a lot out of that. There's a big messages there. So I hope that 2024 brings you a lot of personal satisfaction. Like I said, I think you're going to be able to blossom this year, but I still think you're going to have some feelings from this situation. You can't escape. Escape's the wrong word. You can't. What happened to you happened to you. You can't undo it. If you went through challenges, if you went through deep challenges that have left you changed as a person, don't feel like you have to go back to who you were before those challenges happened. Don't feel like if you feel like you've lost your innocence, and it feels like that's kind of the feeling here, the goal isn't to regain that innocence, right? You're free now. But that freedom comes out of the perspective that's changed. And that perspective shift is really important. So there's a sense with the judgment here of needing to sit with that perspective shift as well. Your innocence isn't lost. I mean, we're all innocent always. We all have a child within us. You can reconnect to that. That's not gone. But at the same time, what happened to you, it's important for you to keep that, because there was experiences gained from that and wisdom gained from that is needed to move forward for you as well. And so, you're smarter, you're wiser from the situation. So don't feel like even if you've lost parts of yourself that are, this is the wrong way to say it. What am I feeling? This is an interesting feeling for me. It's like, even if you're no longer the person you were when you started your journey, and you really love that person, first up, that person's never really gone. Like I said, you hold all parts of yourself with you always. And at the same time, be comfortable moving forward in your freedom by being the person you are now. Because the person you are now is just as important as the person you were when you started out, and even more so, because now you're wiser, and that wisdom is something that you can share with the world. And there's an importance in sharing that kind of wisdom with the world once we've gained it, because not everybody is brave enough to tackle the bigger cosmic stuff, right? The wheel of samsara goes and goes and goes and goes and goes for most of us, right? Not everybody's willing to try to tackle that stuff. And so because you have kind of done that on at least this aspect of yourself that you've come face to face with and worked, transformed, that kind of wisdom, it's important to share. So don't there's a sense of grief. There's a big sense of grief in losing the innocent starting person that you were when you were younger or before you went through this, right? There's grief. So feel the grief, right? In this resting card, feel your feelings, feel the emotion. Allow yourself to grieve what could have been that didn't happen. Sure. Feel that. But also know that you still have infinite possibility ahead of you. You're free. You have a new day. You've moved yourself into a sense of balance. So you can create something from this place as opposed to the thing you were trying to do when you were out of balance. Does that make sense? It feels almost like you were trying to do something when you were out of balance that no longer feels like something that you want to do now that you're in balance. And that's okay too, right? Allow yourself to be in a new place. Allow yourself to create something different from this place. And that the things that you create from this place may be more powerful than anything you could have made when you were out of balance, if that makes sense. Yeah. Anyway, that's my reading for you, pile number 3. I hope that it resonates. I already plugged my music. I won't do it again. But I will say I'm going to be doing more co-creation in this channel. It's going to be both my art and tarot. So I hope that you join me for both. I hope that you appreciate both. If you're just here for my art, welcome to the tarot side. If you're just here for my tarot, welcome to the art side, right? I'm going to be doing both. It's just who I am, and my art is pretty spiritual anyway, so I think that it will resonate with my tarot community. And my tarot community is the only community I have, so thank you for being here with me. It's just, I want to build it all, so I just have to keep working on it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I hope that this reading is good for you. This ended up being a really powerful, long one, so great. Perfect. 2024, going to be an interesting year for you, I think. Catch you later. Bye. Hi there, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be your reading on what to expect for 2024. I'll try to get into some of the themes and ideas and stuff going on for this year for you. The rest of the readings have been largely like spiritual kind of messages, right? So the kinds of development in your own personal journey. More so that than like specific things. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So you pulled the card with this crab, which is very beachy, very sunny for me. So I don't know. For whatever reason, I feel like maybe pile 4, the summertime is going to be really big for you. Going to be a big, important time. And maybe Cancer season in general because of the crab. So end of June, beginning of July, it might be a important time for you this year. Also some emotions, with the crab energy as well, with the Cancer. So this could be, this could also be like a really big year for moving through maybe difficult emotions or moving beyond challenging emotions, allowing emotions to flow through you, maybe becoming more in tune with your emotions, more connected to your inner landscape, your emotional landscape. So those are some basic ideas. Let's keep looking and see what we got. So I'm going to put this over here. It says, to unpathed waters, to undreamed shores. So maybe some travel might be for you as well, maybe doing like a beachy kind of vacation sort of a thing. I don't know. Let's see. So first up, we've got some oracle cards, and then we'll do the tarot. We'll do the oracle first, and then we'll do the tarot. Let's start out with a card from the Healing with the Angels oracle deck. Let's see what we got. This is dreams. Okay, you know what? I didn't say it, but when it said undreamed shores here, I was immediately thinking about dreams, and so to get the dream card as well, that's big. Okay, so I think that 2024 is going to be a really powerful moment for you to look into your dreams more. Dreams are going to be really important to bring you connected messages, I think. yeah, dreaming in general, maybe really connecting in with your dreams, experiencing understandings with your dreams. So in this card, I see there's a lotus. This looks like a lotus flower going on here in the background as well. I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be, but it's what my brain is thinking. So lotus symbolisms tend to be all about the lotus flower starts growing under the water in the mud. So it grows in this really dirty, mucky, gross place, but then it blossoms and grows into this beautiful flower up above the water. And underwater can talk about like, and I'm getting some horns for confirmation out there. Underwater can talk about the subconscious and things bubbling up from the subconscious, and the dreams are all about be revealing your subconscious thoughts. So I think that there's a lot involved in 2024 to work through some subconscious things. One of the best ways to do that is going to be through dream work for you for 2024. So it's almost like things that are currently trapped within your subconscious, or are things that maybe you're having difficulty connecting with within yourself. Let me be more specific. I think like if you've been feeling like weird emotions recently or further back, where you just like, you don't know, it's like, why am I so sad? Why am I crying now? Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like that? I do feel like maybe there's a disconnection in the conscious from connecting to where some of these challenging feelings are coming from. And so I think that 2024 is going to be a good way to really connect into these emotional aspects for you, and release these emotions, like I was saying. But in order to do that, I think that maybe your dreams are going to really help you understand where this is all coming from now, because the dreams can be a really clear window into the subconscious sometimes. So dreaming, but also like daydream work too, like you might really benefit from doing some kind of automatic writing exercise where you just write and let whatever comes out come out, kind of a thing. Anything where you can just sort of let your mind wander, and you can get some of that stuff into a place where you can actually read it and see it and experience it. Because I think that there are some things that are within your subconscious that you're, for whatever reason, I mean, and this isn't, you don't need to attack yourself for this. It's just, this happens a lot with a lot of people. For whatever reason, you're blocking yourself from experiencing consciously this sort of understanding of what's going on. Like there's just like there's something going on where you aren't allowing yourself to see consciously these feelings or these situations. And so connecting in with your dreams more are going to help you with that. So I would recommend trying to keep a dream journal for 2024, where when you wake up, it doesn't have to be a written journal either. You can make it like on your phone. Like I have just like a note in my phone where I collect my dreams, where as soon as you wake up, the first thing that you do is you just, whatever you remember from your dreams, you type it in the note, and then it doesn't matter, and you don't even need to consciously think about what it means in that moment. You can just write what the dream was, and then you can go back to it later and start to look at things, and start to look at things from a symbolic point of view. Like, oh, I was dreaming I was in this giant wide ocean, and actually like big giant water and oceans can talk about emotions. And so, and this wave was, I was stuck in a giant storm in the middle of the ocean, and so it's sort of like, oh yeah, there's some rocky emotions going on in me, and I feel like I'm trapped in them. It's things like that. And you can Google like meanings of dreams and stuff like that too. That can be really helpful. So I think that there's a lot of openings for you in 2024, that by connecting with your dreams, you'll be able to understand some things about yourself more deeply. So anyway, let's keep going. You have 2 cards from the Shamanic Healing Oracle. We have anger. Yeah. Okay, I see it. And letting go. Yep. Okay, so I do think that there are some really powerful emotions going on within you that might even scare you, the anger. Anger is usually something that's covering fear a lot of times for whatever reason. You know what? I'm going to read the book. Let me go get the book. Hopefully I can get that real quick. The book has really great messages. I'm taking you with me so you can hear me. I'll keep talking as I'm getting this. Anger's a tricky emotion, right? Because it's something that we don't really let ourselves experience all that much, because it can be destructive, right? Anger can be a really destructive emotion sometimes, and so that can make it really frightening. But the thing is about emotions, feeling your emotions is different than acting on your emotions, right? So you can feel angry and not act on that anger. You can allow yourself to feel all that you need to feel in the privacy of your own private space and allow those emotions to move through you and to experience them fully without then going and attacking someone or destroying something, right? The difference is feeling a feeling versus acting on a feeling, right? So let's read the anger card. I don't always read from the book, but I just remember she has some really beautiful insights on this. This is by Michelle Matsuka's The Shamanic Healing Oracle. Beautiful, beautiful deck. I really do recommend it. It's helped me move through a lot of my own personal stuff. Anyway, let's read it. Anger. A very strong and primal emotion, anger sometimes catches us by surprise. At other times, it seethes just under the surface, simmering a long while until it boils over, scalding anyone who is close. Anger is based in fear. Fear of loss of control, fear of not being loved, fear of being judged, fear of not being enough. When anger enters your life, be it yours or someone else's, go beneath the surface and try to address the real fear that has triggered it. Anger doesn't go away without addressing the underlying fear. Alternatively, beware of someone's anger directed towards you. Yeah, so there's a fear underneath it, right? A lot of times with anger. Anger is an emotion that's covering up something else. And so go within and try to see what you're blocking. What are you afraid of? What is this anger response coming up against? And like I was saying with the dreams card, there might be some real messages in your dreams to be able to understand this more. If you're having difficulty in opening up to where some of this stuff is coming from, your dreams might be able to give it to you more. And then we have the letting go card as well, which is all about like releasing things. So it's almost like, especially if this is anger that comes from something that's happened with someone else in the past, particularly a situation that cannot be resolved with that person now, right? Which I think maybe for some people that's where this is coming from. Not everybody, I don't think, but for some people watching this, I do think that maybe, there was something in your past where someone did something terrible, and not for everybody, but whenever we are the receiving end of something awful, that's not great, right? It's not awesome to be, to have something terrible happen to you at the hands of someone else. And, feeling angry about that is very much justified, right? Like there's feeling all of your feelings around something are valid, right? Your feelings are all valid. And it's important to feel all that you can around a situation. But it's also important to remember too, though, that sometimes you can get lost in those emotions and then they can start running our entire lives, and then your entire identity gets put into this emotion around this anger, around this fear, around this loss, around this whatever it is, sadness. And it freezes us in a moment of time. And it doesn't allow us to move forward in the freedom that we deserve, because you deserve to be free to move however you want in life. You deserve to be outside of a situation. You deserve to let yourself become someone different and to move into something different and to be happy. You have that right as a living human being. And so sometimes by maintaining an inner loathing towards a situation, regardless of whether or not it's understandable, right? Like sometimes it's not doing anything to the other person, right? You holding on to pain and anger around a situation, it's not going to bring you justice, right? In the end of the day, like it's not going to help you to be angry at someone else, even if you have every reason to be, right? Because they can continue to ignore it, or especially if they're not around anymore, then there's really nothing, right? It's just emotion that you have, that you're holding, that you're remembering. And so this letting go card, sometimes I'm connecting to forgiveness, right? With forgiveness, it's this idea that forgiveness is not a gift that you give the person you're forgiving. It's a gift that you give yourself. You're not condoning the actions that someone else has done. You are allowing yourself to move forward by basically forgiving yourself, saying, you know what, okay, I understand this thing happened to me, and I am no longer going to hold on to this feeling against you anymore. I'm going to release myself from this feeling, and I'm going to move on, and I'm going to say that this is no longer going to hold me back in life, and I forgive the whole thing. And it doesn't mean I condone it. It doesn't mean you have to let someone back into your life. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that you're no longer being held and tied up in this situation anymore. So I do feel like 2024 is going to bring an opening towards forgiveness, towards moving beyond challenging and maybe sometimes negative emotions, allowing them to wash through you instead of hold you hostage. I think that there's a lot in that, and I think that there's maybe some symbols and options within your dreams this year that are going to help you move through that, as you move into and around these emotions. Let me read Letting Go too. I didn't read this for anybody else, but I feel like for you, for whatever reason, I wanna give extra messages with these oracle cards. So the Letting Go card from the book says, letting go of a person or situation can be a challenge. At times, what's at stake is not just the relationship or situation, it's the attachment we had for it, the hopes, the dreams, the expectations. Many relationships end long past their natural ending point. One or both people hung on, hoping that things would change. They invested so much time because without that person or job or relationship, their future loomed up as one big blank screen. For many, this is too scary to bear. However, by letting go, we create a space for a person or situation that will resonate with us where we are now. Start looking at your expectations. Try not to have any. This will enable you to live in the moment and be mindful in the present. To be able to gracefully release from a situation is a lesson for all of us. Yeah, so I really do think that there's an opportunity here to let go of some kind of situation. Now, I was talking about a specific kind of relationship with someone in the past, but I don't think it has to be that. For other people, I think it might be a relationship that you've had with yourself, and this anger might be totally self-directed. You might be angry at yourself for not achieving certain things or not making certain things happen or making choices that have left you in a place that you don't like or something like that, And you might have a lot of challenging and difficult emotions around that. But by working through letting go of those things, you free yourself to actually be able to move in a new direction and achieve something better or different or more aligned to where you want to be now than where you went in the past. And by clinging and hanging on to these past situations, it's just keeping you locked and stuck in the same feelings of not satisfied, of unsatisfaction, that kind of thing. So there's an opportunity here to really release yourself from some of this stuff. And I think a lot of it is in the subconscious, like I've been saying. So, the surface level might just be, why am I so pissed off all the time? Or why am I so irritable? Or why is it so hard for me to just sit and feel good when I have good things happening to me and I'm just stuck in this negative thinking about everything? It could just be very simple like that. And so there's an unraveling that needs to happen here of understanding, where all of this is coming from, and, relieving yourself from this stuck energy from the past. I do feel like for a lot of people, regardless of what specifically this is, I think a lot of it is coming from the past. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I have a cough here. So there's this energy of kind of like moving beyond past situations, and in order to free yourself for the future, there's an importance in letting go of these difficult things. So let's see what your oracle cards are or your tarot cards. For all of these piles, it's sort of been like how the year's going to enter, how it's going to exit, that kind of thing. A good path to see what your year is like. This is really interesting. Let's put these two aside for now. Let's look at these two together. It's so funny how so similar the imagery of these two cards really is. I know that I know on a conscious level that these are such connected cards, but I've never actually seen them side by side like this, and it's so funny that they are like so identical in so many ways. You have the Lovers and you have the Devil. So I think that I think that this is how you enter 2024, and I think this is how you exit 2024. I think that that's what's going on here. And it's interesting because there's a lot of balance energy going on here. There's a lot of connection, a lot of duality. There's like two, lots of duality going on for you. So I do think that there's an interesting reflection here in your own experience this year, where I think you really are coming face to face with all of the internal challenges that are keeping you bound. So the Devil card, can look kind of scary, but really what he's about is he's the things that bind us. So the things that keep us stuck. And it's the things that we do to ourselves to keep us stuck. Look at these two people here. Those chains are they're so loose, and they're not, their arms aren't connected to them at all. Like, it's a really, really loose chain that they could just slip over their necks and walk away. Like, it's not hard to do that. But it is hard for them because of their mindset. So the Devil card is all about having a mindset of, oh, I can't do this, or oh, this and this is like this because that, and then it's like keeping your mind stuck instead of seeing that there is so much possibility around you. And I think that's coming from whatever this internal thing is. A lot of times too, the Devil card can talk about addictions, and addictions tend to come from avoidance. We are addicted to something because we don't want to see something. So we are so dead set on avoiding something that we block it out with whatever we can. We numb, we medicate, we do whatever. And I'm not saying that you have any addictions here, pile number 4. I'm just saying that that's kind of sometimes what this card can talk about. And so I think that because of that, there is a sense with this card that you are not actively trying not to look at something here. And I think that that's where this irritability is coming from. If you're feeling irritable, or you're feeling angry, or you're just feeling pissed off about where you are in life or whatever, it all comes back to there's something that you don't want to look at within you. And 2024, it's all about taking stock of that. Should you choose to do so, because you could choose not to, but if you choose not to, I think it's just going to be more of the same. And I think that you're running into a brick wall with that, and you don't want to feel that way anymore. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to slow down and just take a look at it. Just take a look at the thing inside you don't want to see. And even if and maybe you're like, I don't even know what it is, right? I don't even know what it is I don't want to see. It doesn't make any sense to me. Then that's where the dreams come in, right? Where it's like, okay, so really start paying attention to your dreams, because your dreams are going to tell you what that is. And if you consciously can't even think about what it is right now, your dreams are going to be, the breadcrumbs to lead you home in the forest, right? That's what's going to start to help you unpack and unravel some of this stuff. Now, I think that as you do this work, as 2024 starts, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for you to do this kind of thing. Like, the universe is working with you to open this up within you. So it's like you do a little work, and then things will get easier, and then you'll do even more work and things will get even easier, right? I think the more that you put in, the more you get out in this situation. And that's where I think the Six of Pentacles is coming in here. It can talk about balance. It can talk about cosmic balance, give and receive, give and take. Sometimes you need help, sometimes you don't. And so maybe that's a part of this too, actually. Maybe legitimately ask for help through this too. Go find professional help if you need help with stuff. These readings are just little openings for entertainment. Like, I'm not a therapist, and I'm not licensed to give you psychological advice in any way. And maybe a therapy could be really helpful for you this year. Pile number 4. I've been to therapists a few times in my life, and every time I've been, it's been very, really helpful and rewarding for me to do it. And I've learned so much about myself. So potentially, you could go and ask for help in that capacity, or it could be some other kind of help. Maybe this means like reaching out to a family member and really talking about a situation in a way that you've never talked to with anyone before, or a friend or someone who knows you really well, and being able to communicate some of this stuff might help you get through it. And I do see that this is ultimately leading towards a more sense of balance within, and it's going to free you and open you. And if you enter the year feeling bound, you're exiting the year feeling open with the Lovers. The Lovers as an opposite of the Devil is like open, infinite possibility. You've got the angel instead of the devil over you. So it's like, feeling like you're open, like you can do anything, like you can make anything happen. And with the Two of Wands, the Two of Wands can talk about open possibility. It can talk about travel. So there's two different aspects of travel here. So maybe 2024 has a lot of travel opportunities for you, or, travel might help you move through some of this stuff. Sometimes getting out of a place where you have a routine that isn't working can be really helpful in unlodging stuff within, by going somewhere completely unfamiliar. You might come face to face with parts of yourself that you haven't seen in a while, so maybe travel could help you through this type of thing. But I do think that, even if it's not physically going anywhere, there's open possibility with this as well, because you see he's on the balcony looking out at the world. So it's like there's an opening in the world ahead. There's a planning for the future. There is a future, right? It's like opening yourself up to the idea that you have a future that doesn't have to be informed by anything that's happened before. You have an open, free future to make anything happen for yourself. And with the Lovers here, maybe this means connecting with someone romantically, but it doesn't have to. A lot of times the Lovers can talk about connecting with yourself. having a deep, intimate relationship with who you are fully. And by opening yourself up to looking at some of the deep, challenging parts within, you also open yourself up to all of the parts within that you've blocked off, these beautiful inner parts of you that you haven't seen in a long, long time, because they're stuck behind the parts within that you don't want to look at. As you open yourself up to that and you release some of these emotions that are stuck within you, it opens you up to, being freer to connect to the free parts within you that are stuck right now. So I think that if you do this, if you approach 2024 with an open mind towards moving through some challenging things within you, if you just allow yourself to do that, I think that there's an opening towards a more free sensibility as you leave 2024. And that inner freedom will allow you to feel like you have much more possibility in your future than maybe you're feeling in the moment. Anyway, pile number 4, I'm going to leave you there. I hope that this reading resonated with you. I hope that you liked it. Let me know in the comments what you think either way. I love hearing from everybody. Feel free to check out some of my art stuff too as I move forward. I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more tarot content again. At least that's my goal, because I really do like giving these videos to people, and a lot of times, a lot of these readings are really helpful for me to hear as well. And so it's good for me to do them for you, because then I'm also getting the messages for me. But I'm also going to be putting all my arts content here as well. And I do think it's going to be a dual channel where it's tarot, but it's also music and video and all sorts of things like that. So if you do want to take a look and listen to any of my music stuff, that helps me too. And I'd love to hear what you think about it. Anyway, pile number 4, that's it for me. I will see you later. Bye-bye.